Welcome, friends, to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I'm Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Let's get this podcast going. Ready? Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. Today, as I record this, it's a rainy Saturday morning, and hubby just left for his long run. And so I'm sitting in our closet with one of our doggies, Bella, recording this for you. This is episode 11, and today I want to give you a mind shift specific to what I call the gap trap. So when you think about where you are now and where you want to be in any area of your life, whether it's making more money or losing the weight or living in the house of your dreams, having that degree, landing that dream job, whatever it is, it's easy to start to feel like your goal is out of reach. You may even have thoughts like, people like me don't make that kind of money, or people like me don't lose that kind of weight, or get that kind of job, or have that kind of relationship. You name it, we all have that things like that don't happen to people like me sentence in our head. And the larger the gap between where we are now and where we want to be, the more we begin to have doubt and question whether it's possible at all. These are some of the sentences that used to play in my head. Who am I to think that I could ever? What made me think that I could? I've never been able to stick with anything before. Why did I think this would be different? When the journey feels like it takes longer than expected and we feel like we have too far to go, we end up feeling disappointed. We beat ourselves up for even having the idea of the goal to begin with. And if you're like me, you jump right into the self-pity pool. Why does this have to be so hard for me? Why can't I be one of the lucky ones? And that, my friends, is what I call the gap trap. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, there are two reasons for the gap trap. Number one, you are human. And number two, you have a brain. Yep, your brain is going to take every opportunity to try and get you to hit that easy button, go back to drinking beer, eating Cheetos, and watching Entertainment Tonight. I don't know, is that even still on anymore? But now you know my history. So how many times have you started to learn something new, like playing an instrument or riding a horse or how to lose weight, and it didn't happen fast enough, and so you gave up? Think about that thing. What is that thing that seems like it's meant for someone else, but you really, really, really want it to? At one point in my life, I wondered why maintaining a normal weight had to be so hard. I just wanted to be one of those girls who could eat whatever they wanted and still be skinny. I mean, isn't that every woman's secret desire? But I had all this food chatter in my head, and that gap felt deep. Another one for me has to do with horses. When I turned 50, Steve and I sold our midtown home in Tulsa and moved to the country so I could get my horse experience on. I had had ponies a couple of times in my life when I was younger, but I would not put me in the category of growing up with horses at all. In fact, I know I forgot more than I ever knew. I remember when I first got my girls, I would be down in the pasture with them, and I would see girls driving up to the arena barn where we were boarding, and they would unload and tack up and ride around in the arena. They just had so much confidence, and I would envy the girls with their horses that could carry themselves with such elegance. They had amazing gaits and perfect posture. They could gracefully lope off from a walk. I would watch the other riders who seemed to know exactly what to do and when to do it. They seemed to be at one with their partner. I saw in them all of their elegance, and then I saw where I was at the time. It was a huge gap. It felt like a cavern. I didn't recognize what it was at the time, but that was a gap, and I was sitting in it full of self-pity and compare and despair. I don't know if I have ever shared this with you, but the first time I ever took a lesson, I fell off the horse and under the horse from the mounting block, not once, not twice, not even 3 times, 4 times, people. God bless that horse, but more evidence of the gap. I didn't have a pedigree horse. I had a backyard pasture accident that I bought from a sale barn, and now I couldn't even get on a horse using a mounting block. I had every reason to think that I was not meant to be a horsewoman. I had every reason not to go back to the lesson next week. I was embarrassed, I was humiliated, and now I was sore. The gap felt like it was growing, and all I wanted to do was be a good horsewoman, a good rider, and be able to do all the things that I was watching the other girls do with their horses. And maybe you're feeling like that right now. But I want you to know, my friend, that all that gap is the journey. It's your path to your destination. I remember being in such a hurry to learn all the things and become a better rider. It seemed like the faster and the harder I tried, the more frustrated I got. And at one point, my dream life of owning and showing horses was leaving me feeling miserable and frustrated and overwhelmed. I was constantly looking at how far I still had to go, and the gap felt like it kept getting bigger and bigger and further away. Remember in episode 6 when I said the brain lies? Well, my brain was lying to me too, and this was before I knew all about managing my own thoughts. So there were several times that I felt like I just wanted to quit. Because I didn't quit, I started to see how it was possible and that my horse show dreams were closer than I thought. I saw that I had been filling in the gap all along. And you are too. Whatever you want to create, accomplish, or invite into your life is closer than you think, as long as you don't quit. In fact, as long as you don't quit, it's inevitable. So, how do you keep your eye on the prize while you're on your journey? How do you avoid the gap trap? I have 6 steps. Number 1, take some time to describe what that goal means to you. If it's a number on the scale or in your bank account, what's the meaning behind that number? For example, if you want to weigh 130 pounds and that's your number, is it because you want to be more active with your family? Or maybe it represents no more food drama and food chatter. If you have a number in your bank account that you're shooting for, what's that why? Does it represent the family vacations you can take or the lifestyle that you'll be able to experience? Your why has enormous importance and is deeply tied to the things that you value. Keeping those values closely tied to your goal is critical to keeping your eye on the goal and not on the gap. My why is that I want to be able to tell my grandkids, Brinley, Tegan, and Tate, all about all of the things that their grandma did and accomplished. I didn't want to be telling them the things that I wished I would have done. Number 2, focus on getting better every day. Just think about the day ahead of you. When all we can see is the gap and not the goal, it's easy to let that goal slip away and we get frustrated and discouraged. And then we might start thinking, I might as well. And I might as well is never followed by anything that moves that needle in the right direction. It sounds like I might as well skip the workout. I might as well just blow the whole day since I blew it at lunch. And then I might as well just start over on Monday. Might as well just have fun this weekend. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do today that gets me one step closer to my end result? What decisions can I make right now in this moment that moves me towards my goal? Maybe it's a better food choice. Maybe it's working on your money belief. What can you do today that gets you one step closer to creating the outcome of your heart's desire? Number 3, do a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly debrief. Showing your brain how far you have come will give your brain evidence that you are making progress. I still do this to remind me of how far I've come. As a horsewoman, my brain wants to remind me of that day that I fell off of the mounting block getting on. Number 4, visualize being that person every day and do one thing every day that gets you closer to being your future self. In episode 9, I talk about living into your potential instead of your identity. Practice stepping into that person every day, that person that does create the result, that person that does make the choices that support the outcomes that you want to create. Visualization is powerful. It's a powerful tool for your brain. And I think it's safe to say that all successful people spend a certain amount of time visualizing the outcome that they want to create. And the more often that you can access your future self, the sooner that you will grow into and evolve into her. Number 5, Make a list of things that you are doing right now and the things that you are in the habit of doing that don't support your goal. And ask yourself, does this habit support my goal? Don't lose sight of the big thing, but day to day, focus on the habits that you can create and the progress that you are making as a result of your habits. My husband has always had a certain level of fitness that he wanted to maintain. Both of us are in our late 50s, early 60s, so we know that in order to maintain our youth for as long as possible, a healthy eating protocol is important. And there was one point in which he had an after-work going to the pantry and eating crackers habit that was actually sabotaging his health goal. A simple inventory of your daily habits might be very revealing. Number 6, think the thoughts that serve your goal and not your gap. When you think the thoughts like, this is impossible or I can't, you are right. When you think the possibility thoughts, you are right again. I highly recommend that you listen to episode 2 where I talk about possibility thoughts and how to create them. My parting thoughts are these. Don't underestimate the power of the example that you are setting for someone else who would love to be on your journey, for someone else who shares a similar dream. Fast forward a few years, and as I'm showing my big red mare for the very first time at a Western Dressage World Show, I am living the dream that I've been creating for several years now. And up in the stands are several women who are watching me ride my mare and live this dream, and now they have the very same dream, and now they are on the exact same journey. We've become friends now, and it's their goal to ride down center line at their first ever Western Dressage World Show. It's been so fun for me to watch them on their journey, and I've been privileged to give them words of encouragement to keep looking at how far they have come and to keep going, because my guess is that someone else is watching them too. All right, my friends, make sure to listen through to the outro so that you can see how leaving a review could mean $100 for you. I hope this podcast has given you a mind shift, and now I hope that you have the best day ever. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own transformation this week. If you love this podcast, I would love it if you would leave me a review, and here is what's in it for you. When you listen and subscribe and screenshot your review, email it to me, you are entered to win $100. As soon as we get to 100 reviews, I will be drawing for the winner. Now, you can only leave one review, but you can enter multiple times. I'm going to leave the details in the show notes. All right, my friends, I hope that you have the best week ever.